Hi, my name is Tim Howard, former USMNT national team goalkeeper, now NBC sports analyst. I very much feel retired, and I'm happy about that. I'm glad I'm done playing. My tank was empty, so I've got a lot of fond memories, though. Pulling on your country's shirt here in the national anthem and representing your country is far and away the greatest gift, the greatest motivation that any soccer player can have. So representing my country in a World Cup, multiple World Cups, thankfully, was definitely the most fun I've ever had. It was the biggest highlight. Well, I didn't love being a goalie from the beginning. I think my coaches had to kind of cut side deals with me, like playing goal in the first half, and then you can play as a forward in the second half. So I said, okay, because no kid wants to be stuck in goals. You know, like anything else, you start to have small little successes along the way. I always felt different, and it wasn't a bad thing. It was kind of cool. I got to wear a different colored jersey, and I got to stand out, and people praised me for being that single position as opposed to just the rest of the team. So whether it be the applause of the crowd or a pat on the back from a coach or, my mom saying I did a good job, that felt good, and so I always wanted to keep that going. I think professional soccer became a reality sometime in my middle teenage years, about 16, 17 years old, which seems so early. I have my own kids now, and I just think that's a heck of a decision. You get thrown in at the deep end with adults and experienced professionals, and you're allowed to have a learning curve, but it's got to be pretty quick. I go from this anonymous soccer player in New Jersey, and the day that I land in Manchester to sign my contract, I haven't even played a game yet, I go to sign my contract, and the back pages of the paper have my face on it and name, and so it's like I go from being unknown, and now I'm known, and I haven't even done anything yet. That sounds like a really good thing, but it's not an amazing thing as a 23-year-old who still has his career in front of him, who's still trying to figure out what it's like to be a young adult, let alone an adult. It's hard work. Practice is hard work. If you give everything you have, and then you recover, and then you give everything you have, make sure your teammates are working hard and pulling in the same direction. It's difficult to do that day in, day out for years and years. So there's a lot of miles on my body and some hard miles. You have the team side, you have the fans, you have the media, and you can imagine trying to keep all of those happy, which is, by the way, an impossible job, but you still try. Some put a brave face on, some are able to work through adversity better, and that gets heightened because you're doing it in front of 50,000 plus millions and billions of viewers worldwide. I had to get into a really tough mental place to go across that line, to battle my opponent, to deal with the fans that were making fun of me. That couldn't be the same mindset that I walk around every day with. In order to be successful at my job at the highest level, which is the English Premier League, I had to understand that there was another side to me that I had to tap into. I think turning off and on is easy physically. I'm going to cross the line. I'm going to train hard today. I'm going to play hard. I think the difficult part was figuring out when to turn it off and on in my daily life. I had to go to a place for a long time, long sustained periods of time, that was very closed off, that was very dark in order to perform at that level. But the other side of that is being able to express that I've done that, being able to express that I don't feel great over the course of 2 months, 3 months, knowing that I have to continue to dip in and out of that mental place in order to compete. If I did one thing that was not exactly in line with how I did it, I would go out on the field and I'd be thinking about it, and I'd have to redo some tape or, you know what I mean? I couldn't just roll with it. I had to have it exactly the same. So amongst other things, what I ate for pregame meal, if we won, I changed it up, I kept it the same. If we lost, I might change it up a bit, go from chicken to fish or something. And then what I kind of grasped as I got to the end of my career is superstition also talks about preparation and preparedness, right? And I did the same things all the time to get ready for a game, which I think, yes, is superstitious. I think over the course of time that becomes part of my preparation for the game. I think you go on autopilot when you're playing. You prepare all week, you cross the line, the adrenaline goes, and then you're reacting. You're reacting to the referee, the crowd, the ball, the opponent. I think I've always had an athlete's mentality. That's never going to change whether I'm on an actual team or now I'm on a production team with other talent. The big draw for me with soccer was the freedom that I was allowed to have. My mom, I was a rambunctious kid. My mom said, pick a sport. I was 6 years old. And I said, I don't know. And she said, well, I think the local soccer league's going on, so you'll go play. Okay. And from the first moment, I got out there, I loved it because there was just so much freedom. I could run around, I could slide, and I could kick the ball, and I could defend, and there was just so much about it. In fact, I did so much sliding that one of my coaches told me I was never allowed to slide again because every time the ball was there, whether it was a goal or on the other end, that's all I wanted to do. So I loved it from the beginning. The belief in a young kid or a young athlete is so vitally important, more than anything else, is giving them the confidence to believe in themselves. Soccer youth development in America lags behind the rest of the world. Europe, Africa, Asia, South America. It's not about having the best uniforms, the best pitches, the best equipment. It's just go play. And we need to begin to start to claw that back slowly by introducing soccer to the masses and not just the elite who have the opportunity to pay to play. Is how do we find and give accessibility to urban areas that don't have the beautiful fields and all the rest of the things that we think of what soccer is in America. And if we can do that, then we can get into the conversation of development and all the rest of it. Gosh, the three things I wish I knew then that I know now. Certainly nutrition. I think nutrition is something most athletes only think about as they start to get to the second half of their career because you're young and your metabolism's high, you can do anything you want and you don't have to lift weights. Once I got dialed into that at about 30, it was game on. It was a game changer for me just in so many facets. The mental aspect of the game, I talked before about feeling like I have a different side of who I am and that's okay and going to need that in order to be successful. That is something that I learned pretty quickly, but I still wish I learned it sooner. And then lastly is probably the fact that everything's going to be okay. That there's going to be some bumps in the road, that you have to roll with some punches, but figure out a way to have resiliency. And if you do that, coupled with hard work and talent, then the sky's the limit.
Check.